talking some more liposuction, fat transfer, and how to get all that stuff without a tummy tuck. If you like losing this belly, it's so easy. Well, it's not so easy, but it's easier than you might think it might be. Liposuction is the permanent removal of fat, and many of you have been told that, hey, if you remove that fat with liposuction, you're going to have a big empty sack of skin, and that's just not the case. You've been lied to, like many of other things in this country, this world we're living in. You've been lied to a lot. I'm sure you know, or you're aware of that now. But tummy tuck is something that you don't have to get, and it's not necessary for most people. That are recommended that. And you certainly don't need to be your ideal weight to get liposuction. That's just crazy. We remove fat for a living. That's what we do for people. That's our job. We remove fat from them. So if you bring more fat, I'm not going to turn you away. It's going to be a different option. So larger individuals, it's a slightly different plan. So we just we do what we got to do, but we can still help you. What's up, Tara, Gwen, Alondra? Dora, as you guys jump on here, we do have this 15% off special going, and to get simple pricing, it's so easy. We have this quick quote system. On Facebook, it's up in the post there. You can click on that link. And on Instagram, I'm pinning the comment right now. This is our quick quote system. You're going to simply click on the link and fill out some basic information, answer some questions, and it gives you a fairly accurate quote and recommendations for the type of procedure that you want. See, I've been doing this for a long time, and I put this together so it can give specific recommendations based off of your BMI, because as you get larger, it's the volume of fat that we need to remove is different. So obviously in larger individuals, when we're removing larger volumes of fat, there's different things to consider, different safety protocols to think about. So we do our best, right? Quick quotes. Quick, it's easy, it's pretty accurate, but it's not perfect. So if you have other questions or you don't seem to fit into that quick quote system appropriately, then do the formal consultation. We charge $100, but it's you're paying for my time, my 15 years of experience, where I can give you professional opinion in minutes that will blow your mind of what's possible. I have the ability to do these kind of things for individuals that make this huge belly just disappear, and just like that, your life changes. All those problems that you had because of that big belly hanging in front of you, whether that's health problems, you might be developing, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, heart disease. These are all effects of being overweight or carrying that much volume. And it affects your body's ability to manage the blood sugars, so that's where diabetes comes in. Now, you got all these extra cells, fat cells, right? So all the cells in your body require blood and nutrients and oxygen to survive, and the fat is the same. So the more volume of fat that you have, it requires many more tiny little blood vessels that feed the fat. Now, what does that mean? You have much more tiny blood vessels than someone else that's thinner, which means that your heart is pumping harder. Listen to what I'm saying. Your heart is pumping harder, and it's more stress on the heart just because you have more fat. Okay, this leads to high blood pressure because your heart has to pump harder and push the blood out there to get to all the fat cells. So when we remove the fat cells, it's like all of a sudden it's like a huge monkey off your back. Now, when you remove those fat cells, all the ancillary tiny little blood vessels that feed the fat cells, they disappear, and they're irrelevant. They're not necessary anymore, and your body doesn't need it. So all that blood that your heart was pushing out just doesn't need to go there anymore. So therefore, it can pump less, just like that. It's literally that quickly. Everything changes. Your body's ability to manage sugar, it changes. Boom, just like that. Your cholesterol, it changes. Now, as those lab values shift and change, all the structure of the body starts to change as well, and most importantly, the structure of the mind. Because the way that you see yourself, as we know, what you think about most is what you become. The world is just a reflection. So if you're thinking about, oh my gosh, you see yourself and you see yourself as fat all the time, your thought process is going to be such that leads you down the same direction of living the life of a person that would be fat, because you keep thinking it. But when you start seeing yourself as this thinner individual, it's like you sit down at the dinner, to go eat dinner, and the person asks you, what would you like to eat, and all of a sudden you start thinking like a thin person. It's incredible. It really is. It's amazing. But the choice is all yours. You have the choice to change, or you have the choice to stay the same. And for many years, decades, you may have stayed the same and resisting the change. But then at some point, there's always some point, right? There's always some point when you realize, like, maybe this is not I'm not doing the right things. Maybe what I've created, this body that you created by ingesting whatever you've ingested, by doing or not doing whatever you've been doing, right, exercise-wise, whatever you have done has created what you are today. And whatever you are today, if you like it, that's fantastic. If you don't like it, then it's time to change. And you can change. It's never too late. Doesn't matter. You're 80 years old. Change and have a few good years left is better than not changing and have a few crappy years, right? So don't ever think you're too old to change. This 74-year-old came for liposuction 4 different times. Why? Because she wanted to look better for the guys in the pool. Sounds just like your 20-year-olds, right? But yet she's 74. See, the interesting thing is the mind, the who we really are, it doesn't ever age. You're still that young person. The mind is still the same if you allow it to be. If you allow it to be. If you decide that you are feeling old, that you're looking old, and you made a decision that I am old, then what happens? You start acting that way. Your decisions are based off of the way that you think, the foundational thought process. And if you have a negative thought process, then it's inevitable. Your decisions and your thinking, everything that's going to come at you, you're going to see more negative. And as that happens, your life takes on a more negative role. And you see things are happening to you as a negativity and something that you can't control. You feel like you don't have control in your life. Now, the things that I'm talking about are simply taking control of the basic foundational functions of our life. So, drinking water, you can control this. You can control this. However, a huge portion of our population is chronically dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, it affects every aspect of your body. So if you're dehydrated, you're going to struggle. Okay? No question. So simply drinking enough water will change your life for the better. Absolutely. Okay? And this is totally under your control. So you take control of this, you have a little bit of control. Your activity level, it's totally your choice, unless it's not, right? Unless you're quadriplegic or you have the inability to move. But most of us have the ability to stand up and move and walk. Simple, basic things. I'm not talking like you have to go to the gym 5 days a week. All I'm saying is you have to move. If you don't move it, you lose it. You don't use it, you lose it, right? It's that simple. And you have to challenge yourself because that's where the growth happens. I was talking yesterday about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he said that he doesn't even start counting the repetitions that he's doing until it starts to burn. Someone asked him, how many bench press reps do you do? And he says, I don't know. I don't even start counting until it starts to burn. And then when it starts burning, you want to do is 10 repetitions. And that's the way he did it. And the genius to that is that if you'll notice in everything in your life that when you change any aspect of your life, there's going to be some degree of discomfort, we'll call it, right? And that discomfort might be, you can relate to this when you're trying to grow your muscles or working out. That's painful, right? If you're trying to change a habit, the body and the mind we love habits. We love patterns, okay? We love repetition. And when you do something new and your brain's like, wait a second, this is not the same stuff. It's uncomfortable for you. You're gonna feel like, whoa, this is not right. This is different. And when you get that sensation, some people might be like, okay, it's not right. I gotta change. I gotta do something different. I gotta go back to the normal. Okay, and this normal that's like the death of you. And staying comfortable, staying the same, it's the death of you. It's you're deteriorating because you'll never stay anywhere. You're either going up and improving or you're going down and declining. And so when you believe that you're staying where you are, you're really declining because you're not getting better. So the key to this is constant, never ending improvement. And it doesn't mean that you have to be like an Olympic athlete improvement. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that you're constantly improving. You can be on a slow uphill incline, but you need to be improving. You need to be getting better in every aspect of your life. We're not just talking the way that you look, your body. Every aspect of your life, you need to be constantly improving. And if you improve, here's the key to this, is in your mind, the improvement improves your confidence automatically. When you see yourself getting better, you're going to feel better about yourself. When you see yourself looking better, you're going to feel better about yourself. When you start improving your diet and you have discipline, that's going to make you feel better too and give you confidence that you have the power to do the things that you want to do. You know, most people don't feel like they have control of their life, and that's a big part of what leads to like depressive episodes, because you feel like, you know, I don't have any control of this stuff, and it just happens to me, and then you start feeling like a victim. And that victim mentality, and you should go Google this term, victim mentality leads you to make certain decisions in your life. And you act a certain way, and you treat people a certain way, because in your mind, everything is happening to you, and it's not your fault because, you know, I didn't ask for this. But that's just not the case. Abston B says, I had mine in April, and I feel wonderful. Isn't it great? Isn't it great to feel good? You know, today I had a chiropractor appointment. I have this pinched nerve in my neck, and I'm getting like shooting pain down my arm, and it sucks. I don't like not feeling, you know, perfect. I don't like feeling perfect. I like being fully functional, full flexibility, full strength. I like to be able to run and jump and do everything that I want to do. Because why wouldn't you? You know, we have this one life to live, and I don't want to be stuck in a seat. I want to go see this world. I want to go see what's possible. I want to go stretch the limits of what this body, this machine can do. And you know, I'm going to continue to stretch the limits. And I hope you will too, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help people along this path, and this path to self-realization, to figure out what you are really capable of. And I think that, you know, part of my purpose in being here on this planet, you know, and helping people along this path, and part of the way I do this is by being an example. And what that means is all the things that I talk about, all the things that I say, that you know, these foundational habits, I'm constantly working at improving myself. And as I improve myself, I learn a little bit more about myself, which then allows me to teach you more. So I'm trying to stay ahead of you just a little bit. Okay? And that's what makes me more of a, shall we say, an expert, right? Because all I'm doing is I'm running ahead. I'm gonna run ahead, I'll look around, figure out how things work, and I'll turn around and tell you guys how to do it. Now, the important thing here is that once you start appreciating the benefits of this in your life, and you start feeling different about yourself, you start looking different, and you start having different capabilities, because that's really the key here. You want to have more capabilities to do things in your life. But as you improve, as you get better, you got to turn around, just like I'm doing. You got to stay a little bit ahead of your friends and family, and then you can turn around and help them. And that's, for me, this gives me purpose in my life. This is the reason why I'm on this planet. I'm here to help people just like you to come from where you are and take you to where you want to be and show you the path. Now, that might be through liposuction, maybe, but you know, I'm here talking, and it's free, and you can take this information. But here's the problem I see is most people, when it's free, they don't value the information. And unfortunately, there's tons of information. All the sacred knowledge is right in front of our face. It's right out there. You probably heard some of it, but you don't think it's important. And the reason why you don't think it's important is because it was free. You know, the weird thing is that I found that when people pay for knowledge, they pay for information, it's all of a sudden very valuable to them. And they take it very serious. And when they take it seriously, they actually start to implement things in their lives. And as you implement things in your life, it all changes. So all I'm saying is that take things seriously. I've done tons and tons of research, not only reading, watching videos, going to conferences, but I'm constantly working on myself and testing all the stuff that I tell you about. I've tested on myself like for a long time. I've tested and tested and tested, and what I've done is I constantly I have this unique ability, I guess, right? This discipline. I have this like superpower discipline. I have the ability to do exactly what I say I want to do. It sounds really easy, right? But if I say I'm going to wake up at 4 in the morning and go for a 10-mile run, I get up at 4 in the morning and I go for a 10-mile run without question. My body it does whatever I tell it to do. And the crazy thing is you might be thinking, well, mine does too. Bullshit. And I'm calling you out on it right now. Because if you don't have the discipline to get up and do exactly what you want to do whenever you say to do it, you're in control. Not this body telling me that I'm tired, I'm sore, I don't want to do this today. That's not what's in control. It's me. And I don't care whether I'm in pain, I don't care whether I'm tired, whether I didn't get a good night's sleep. If I say I'm going to get up, I get up. And that's where my superpower lies. I have the ability to be disciplined. Now, how have I utilized this superpower in making me better? Well, I have all these little disciplines and habits and things that I've tried over the years, just basic things, and I've taken basically every recommendation that I've heard. Every recommendation that I heard, someone says it's good, I said, all right, I'll try it, and I tried it. I tried all of them, every one of them, and I had the discipline to do it not only for like a week or two, but even if I don't notice any difference, I'll stick to things for at least 2 months, usually 3 months. Because I know that it takes 60 to 90 days to create a solid habit. Now, what happens when you try these habits, you try these disciplines, and you just don't notice any difference? And you're gonna find, and what I do is I find that the habits that I'm doing, they're like, for one, there's something about them that just doesn't click with me. And it doesn't seem right, and I get these gut feelings. I get these sensations, and this is my intuition telling me that, hey, this one's not for you. That's okay. That's not a problem, right? But don't give into that thought process until you've given it enough time. This is similar to like when you tell your kids, right? When your kid says, "Oh no, I don't like that food," and you're like, "Just try it." I've tried it once before, is what they say, right? But you got to try it at least 3-4 times, because what if the food that you tried before, someone didn't cook it right and you had it and it tastes like crap? Well, maybe the second time you realize, well, hey, maybe it's not so bad, and the third time you say, oh, I'll give this a shot, and you can keep eating it. But if you go with that gut reaction, that first initial thought, that's like your initial thought of like, I'm too tired, and if you go with it, then you're stuck. But you gotta be the one in charge of this machine. You gotta be in charge of everything, and do whatever you say you're gonna do. That's discipline. Now, discipline is not something that it's more like a muscle, and just like your biceps, right? You can work out your biceps and build it bigger and stronger. Well, discipline's the same way. And how do you do that? Well, you start out small, and you say, and these might be goals, right? Where you say you're going to do something and actually do it. But it could be something simple. You set up these little habits, these little disciplines. Like, for example, I made it a habit to educate myself, and I coded it into my life. So when I say coded it, I created a habit that made it so it was automatic. Every day I'm always learning, I'm getting better. So I'm intelligent because it was coded into me. Now, what was the habit that I created? Well, I created a habit that I read, or I listen to my books, but I read an hour a day, every single day. Every single day I show up. Now, obviously there's going to be some times when you miss some stuff, but look, I'm on a streak now of 80 days that I've listened for at minimum an hour a day, and in many cases I listen to my books a lot longer. And the reason is because it's addictive. Once you start getting the knowledge, you're like, and here's the key: it's not just getting the knowledge, because once you start learning this stuff, you'll like it. It's exciting. But when you start applying the knowledge and you see the results, that's when the magic happens, and you realize how powerful knowledge is. People say that knowledge is power, but that's not my experience. No. Knowledge is potential power. You have to take action on the knowledge, or else it's just a potential. So once you learn these things, you have to take action. So I read an hour a day. That's one habit, and I've stuck with that for 5-6 years now, almost, yeah, quite a bit longer. I've read over almost 700 books this way, and it was just coded into me. It's a habit, and every day I feel like if I'm not reading, then I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be doing. And one of the habits of, here's a book, you should look it up, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. One of the habits that he introduced was doing the first things first. And so what that means, and how you unpack that, is that doing first things first. So the first thing being the most important thing to you, for you. What's the most important for you to be productive throughout the day and feel like you've accomplished something in the day? So for me, I have the basic things that I do first thing in the morning. I get up, I work out, stretch, I meditate. It's super important for me to stabilize my mind and center myself. I do breathing exercises. This breathing exercise is not something I've really spoken about much, but it is absolutely one of the foundational important things. So I do breathing exercises every day. What else do I do? Meditate, breathing exercises, work out, read every day, every morning. I do this in the morning. I start out in the morning, and since it's an hour, I don't necessarily have a full hour at a time, so I use all my downtime to get my hours of reading. So what does that mean? My downtime, it takes me 15 minutes to drive to work, 15 minutes to drive back, so that's 30 minutes a day that I can get. And if I'm driving anywhere else, that's super easy of your downtime, right? Let's say you're going to the grocery store. Pop in your earbuds, listen, read, learn, be smart. Why not? Okay, do you do high BMI? Absolutely. Look at all the pictures behind me. And now, if you have not joined our private Facebook group, we have a private Facebook group that many of our previous patients are there to help you, to support you, to be like a mentor of sorts. So if you're looking at, you're interested in getting this procedure, but you don't know anybody that's gotten this procedure, it's almost like having a friend or a family member that has had the procedure, so you can actually communicate with them directly, private message them. I mean, some of them will probably get on the phone with you if you want, but be respectful. These individuals, like Danielle, like Stacy, they've had the procedures, and some of the people had them a long time ago, and some of the people had them just recently. And so you're going to get a whole wide spectrum of potential help from this. And this is the concept of what I'm saying is once I get ahead, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to help you out, pull you up with me. I'm going to lift you up. I'm going to raise you up with me. And the same thing as I'm helping these individuals get the bodies that they want, we're going to change their minds and get them into healthy lifestyle habits. Just as they advance, it's about turning back and helping and teaching those lessons, because those lessons are freshest in your mind when you learn them. And here's the magic with this, is when you turn around and help somebody else, it solidifies it in you. It's just part of the educational process. So it's not good enough just to read the information, I have to share it with you. And as it comes out of my mouth, I'm hearing it for another time. It's crazy how this stuff works, but I'm telling you that it's the helping, it's the giving, it's the sharing, it's the paying it forward that solidifies the self-realization in you. Me. Okay, this is the magic. It's the giving. You have to give, and you have to be appreciative for what you have, or else you're not going to keep it. The mind is a wild thing, and as you learn more about yourself, you learn how it's like a biohacking. This is another thing you should Google. I've been doing a lot of research, and there's biohacking conferences. Anti-aging is a big thing. Longevity. I intend to live forever. If at some point that becomes possible, and I've been actually doing a lot of research, and the possibilities of how that's going to work. There's a couple different ways. If you guys want to hear about it, Who wants to live forever? Danielle says, I'm 2 months post-op and loving my results. Check out the Facebook group. Sup, bro? Oh, my big old beer snob. What's up, dude? Can't wait to come see you soon. Next week, I think it is. All right, so who wants to live forever? All right, so I've done a ton of research on this stuff, and I'm trying to figure it out for myself. And as I figure it out for myself, I'm going to share this stuff with you, and maybe you can advance yourself as well. Okay, Miss Dawn Kelly says, I'm being treated for heart failure and high blood pressure. As long as I take my medications, will I qualify for large volume laser lipo? That's not necessarily something that I am the sole decision maker with. So if you have a treating physician, and ultimately there's protocols for this, and we get you cleared for any procedure for that matter. And so as long as your health conditions are controlled, in most cases, liposuction is pretty benign in that it's not going to cause major problems. And in fact, in most cases, it's going to benefit or help you these medical problems that you have. So, as long as you're healthy to the point where your body can withstand the stresses of the procedure, then we can move forward. But okay, so Rebecca, you want to hear how to live forever? All right, cool. All right, so first of all, the all the foundational habits that I talk about all the time, those are the basis, right? The interesting thing that I found is that the science behind living longer, longevity, the science behind it, the number one proven fact how to live 30% longer, and this was proven in studies with mice. And so, since mice have a shorter lifespan, it's easier for us to see the life extension, because obviously, with a human, if we're trying to make a human live to be, 80, 90, 100, we got to wait 100 years for that to happen. So with mice, you can see the lifespan extension in a shorter period of time because they're not expected to live. So with mice, the number one thing that extended the life by 30% was calorie restriction. Number one thing. You would have thought maybe, exercising, being strong, not drinking, not smoking, but the number one thing was calorie restriction. So eating less. And it was not just eating less, it was eating 1/3 of what you normally eat. So instead of, we've been told you need 3 square meals a day. Maybe that's bullshit. I'm just saying. Maybe it's bullshit. Because if you eat 1 meal a day, the studies are saying that you'll live 30% longer. Okay? Maybe check it out. There's another thing they call telomeres. So telomeres are on the ends of your DNA, and they describe them as if they are like like a shoestring. And on the shoestring, at the end of the shoestring, you have that little plastic part, and the plastic part kind of holds everything together so it doesn't unravel, right? So they say the telomeres are synonymous with that plastic part at the end. And as we age, that end piece, that telomere shortens, and when it shortens to the point where it's non-existent, that's when you die. So there are different dietary techniques. There's different supplementary techniques that they've been using to extend telomeres. So that's one avenue of the longevity side they're doing. The other thing that is really exciting for me as far as medicine is advancing at a significant pace right now. Technology is improving. As you know, we have what are they called? Cloning, right? So everybody's this big talk about cloning humans and whether it's right or wrong. But let's put that aside. You can clone an organ. So instead of the whole human, you clone their organ. So my heart fails. They can take my DNA and clone my heart, and now implant my heart that's now healthy. Yeah, it's crazy, right? So cloning is one technique that they use to duplicate your organ. There's another technique they're using is that you can actually 3D print an organ with biological material. They 3D print the stuff. You can print the heart, and so but think of it as it's just a biological material, and it's almost like a matrix. And that matrix, when you add in your DNA or your stem cells, it's like it's planting a seed, and then that seed will grow into the matrix and becomes a heart or kidney or whatever organ that you're trying to create. This happens in about 30 days. It's crazy. This is crazy stuff. It's really crazy. But to think that, we can already replace your joints. So if your joint goes bad, we just replace it. Your knee, your hip, your elbow, your joints in the hand. These can be replaced. This is already happening now. We already know that we can do heart transplants, kidney transplants, liver transplants. We already know this stuff. But now, if we can utilize your organ, this is a game changer. It's a game changer. Not only is it your organ, but it's your organ when you were in your 20s. It's really incredible. So, in the future, we're going to be able to extend life dramatically. Dramatically. So, like 120 is realistic. Now, the technology is there, but it's not approved. It's not FDA approved, right? Our government's not allowing the technology. But as it turns out, the government's been holding back a lot of technology. A lot, right? We have technology to do a lot of different things, but unfortunately, it's like when the FDA starts seeing the drug money is being affected by it, and the drug companies can't be the biggest producers in the world anymore, they start getting scared and they start clenching down and they say, okay, you can't do stem cells because it's not good for us, which is total nonsense. Total nonsense. Stem cells have been tested all around the world for decades. Decades. In fact, stem cells can be extracted from the fat, which is awesome, right? So I'm like intertwined in that industry, and I was trying to get into it because obviously longevity is important to me, but FDA hasn't approved it, and so stem cells, which we like, a lot of people are having to go out of the country to get stem cell therapy. Really popular, stars like Kobe Bryant. He had an Achilles tendon tear during his playing times, and he decided to go over to I think it was France, somewhere in Europe, to get stem cell treatments, stem cell injections, which they cost like 50, 60 grand for these injections. It's crazy, right? There's technology now that allows us to get stem cells out of fat in a matter of minutes, and it would cost us next to nothing. It's possible. What's your BMI requirements? Ari Vallejo says. Aurelie. We don't have guidelines for specific BMIs. If you go do our quick quote system, the quick quote system will allow you to get a quote for anything under the BMI of 44. If you're over the BMI of 44, we require that you do a formal consultation, but it doesn't exclude you. It just requires a formal consultation. And the reason why is just that I found that as your BMI goes up, the distribution of the fat becomes wildly different. Most people will initially carry their weight in the midsection. Some people will carry it primarily on the legs, and some people will carry it on the upper body, and some people have it all throughout. Now, as your BMI gets higher, the discrepancy gets a little bit wider and a little bit different. So the recommendations and the health recommendations, safety protocol, it has to change, and so that's the way it is. So I'm not saying that we are excluding people from BMI. Rather, it's just we have to give different recommendations. So if you're at a higher BMI over 44, then you definitely need to get the formal consultation. Now, if you're below that, then man, look at our pictures. Go to the group. You can see there's lots of people that we treat that have high BMIs, and they get huge dramatic change. It's really incredible. Okay, Dawn. Yes, it's your heart failure. And what's cool is that what if all that fat was putting excessive stress on your heart? And what if when you remove all that fat and that the excessive stress and demand to pump the blood to feed that fat, what if that just disappears and all of a sudden you have less stress on your heart? Do you think that would make a difference? I don't know. I promise you, there's no companies that are doing studies on this. So you're not going to see any studies on this. You won't see anything because it comes back to the money. The drug companies, they don't want you to get better. This is where people are like, they're not realizing this stuff yet. And you know that the top 10 companies in the world, 70% of them are drug, no, not some say, 40% of them are drug companies, and the other ones are bankers, right? So you guys have to realize what's going on in this world, and just get some perspective on the people that you listen to, the recommendations that you're listening to. Most of it is total hogwash bullshit, and you're being lied to all the time. So I hope that you'll find somebody like me that I don't sugarcoat anything, and I'm going to tell you exactly the way it is, even though you're probably not going to like it, because You know, when you talk about the awakening and advancing in your mind, and they have the analogy in the Matrix where you get to choose the red pill or the blue pill, and if you choose the pill that you don't want to know anything, you go back to your regular life and you get to still be asleep, and but if you choose the pill that you want to know everything, then you get to know everything. But the problem is that in many cases you're not going to like it. And you look at the world and you see how effed up it really is, and how corrupt the government really is, and how this has been happening for hundreds of years, and the cycles just keep repeating over and over and over. And it's because not enough people wake up, not enough people realize. Because if someone told you the truth, you wouldn't go do the stupid things that you do. I mean, it doesn't make sense. If I tell you smoking's causing your cancer, and you can decide, I'm going to go back to sleep and pretend like I didn't hear that, and I'm going to keep smoking. But if you realize that every puff of cigarette you take is getting you one step closer to the grave, then you might wake up, and you might realize that, hey, I want to live this life. I don't want to die. I don't want to leave so soon. And the choice is yours. It's always yours. It's your free will. It's your ability to choose what you want to do. But if you don't have the discipline to do what you say you want to do, then you're stuck. Or are you? I don't know. The choice is really yours, right? I can only help the people that want to help. If you want to be helped, then you'll come. And you'll come as quick as you can. Because when these changes start happening, it's like, man, you want to live life fast. You want to get out there, and you start realizing all the things that you've been missing. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to start doing this stuff. And then you start doing more, your energy spikes, and you're like, now that you have the energy to do the things that you want to do, you got to get out there. You got to start doing it, and life becomes super exciting. And then the cool thing is around this is that when you start doing the things that you want to do, all the people around you see it, and they're like, something's going on with this person. I want to do what they're doing. And they start asking you questions. They start getting excited, and that's where I hope that you decide to share your experience, share your knowledge, share your wisdom. Because after you've gotten the benefits of the knowledge, it becomes wisdom, and that wisdom is something that is so lacking in this world. They say, we call this term common sense, but the problem is it's not very common at all. Most people, they don't have this common sense. It's something else is going on. You refer to people as being asleep or unconscious or just kind of dazed, and going through this life just believing whatever someone tells them. I used to be like this. And I thought, like, well, this food can't be bad. FDA's approved it. The government would never allow this stuff to hurt people. What? No, that's crazy. And I thought this for so long. Then, sure enough, comes study after study after study, expert, another expert. People keep telling you, and then you hear it, from one person, you hear it from another person, you hear, it's crazy how we've been lied to, how we've been, the government has done things not in our best interest. They did it for what they believe to be the greater good. So we need more food. Okay, let's produce more food for the greater good. And it wasn't a matter of let's do it in the safest way, the healthiest way. It was let's do it as quick as possible and create as much food as we can to feed, the cure world hunger. That was the thought. And then they go back and like, wait a second, now that we've been putting these pesticides on there to create more food, we've done genetically modified organisms, the GMOs, to produce more food. We've done all these things that are producing more food. Now we got an abundance of food. We have plenty of food, more than enough food for everybody. But it's been like this for a couple decades, and they're finding that those GMOs, the hormones that are coming through the milk products, the pesticides and plants, like they're finding that all these things are causing problems, and they're causing major problems in the body. And as we start to realize the problems that they cause, it's starting to leak out into the public, and then you start to realize, and if you do your research, it's scary. It really is. It's scary. You come to find like nothing's really good for you. You know, we're exposed to all kinds of toxins in every, you know, whether it's in the air, whether it's the lotions that go on our skin, whether it's the food that we ingest, whether it's the water that we drink, the toxins are everywhere. So there's a couple things you do. In order to decrease your toxic load, you can do a couple of things. First and foremost, you have to reduce the exposure. So if you know that you're being exposed to toxins, you got to start reducing. You may not be able to eliminate completely, but you have to consciously make a decision to reduce. Wake up, right? You have to wake up, become more conscious of the exposures that you're being exposed to, and reduce the exposures systematically. And you know, and again, you don't have to do it all at once, but start doing it. And start doing it, you know, as quick as you can. So that's reducing the toxic exposure. Now, okay, great. So we got less toxins coming in. Cool. Now we got to start getting the toxins out of our system, what's in our system. So we do cleanses. So cleanses are, they help to detoxify and cleanse out the toxins from your organs, and it helps each individual organ, your detoxifying organs, which is your liver and your kidney and your bowels, and detoxifies the body. And so as we cleanse these organs, it allows them to be more functional. So cleanse detoxifies the organs, and then after you get the organs detoxified, then you want to detoxify the whole body, and you do that through fasting. And here's the problem though, if you do fasting before you cleanse, before you detoxify the organs, then you may spill out too much toxins in your system, and it makes you feel like crap. So it'll be, you know, somewhat counterintuitive, because you're not going to want to continue to advance because you don't feel well. So there's a process to this stuff. The key is drinking water, as with all things. You know, and you got to think of your body as these organs are getting clogged up, almost like a sludge. And I in my mind, and my imagination is like you have this the mesh, and it's filtering out as the blood goes through it, it filters out all the garbage that's in there. And if you have a sludge going through a filter, it's going to go through fairly slow. It'll get backed up, and in fact, that's what happens with our organs, our kidneys, our bowels, our liver. It gets backed up from the sludge. So you have to cleanse this stuff out. And water is the first thing. So you can dilute the sludge, and it'll allow it to go faster. It'll allow things to get out quicker. And as you get more of the toxins out of your body, you'll start to feel better. All of a sudden, your skin starts to clear up, and you'll get this glow about you. Your hair starts to get thicker. Your skin starts to improve. Your energy gets better. You don't feel bloated anymore. I mean, these are like little things that I think that symptoms that people experience all the time. In fact, you probably don't even realize the symptoms that you're experiencing because you think it's normal. You think it's normal to feel like crap after you eat, or like, you know, after you have a big meal, to go plop yourself on the couch because you're exhausted and you can't do anything. That's not normal. That's not normal. No, if you eat the right diet, you're not bloated at all. You can move immediately after eating, and you can be active immediately. It's possible. It's possible. What's up, Cam? Lidai, Gabriella, Lizette. So we have this special going on, this 15% off special. It ends on Friday. You only got 2 days left. Today's Wednesday, right?
Correct.
2 days left. So you got to place your deposit by Friday, and then get the procedure done by next month. So those of you who've been waiting, because I know there's people, you guys wait till the last day, or maybe you just got in here today and you didn't know about this. We got this 15% off special that, you know, if you want to get a discount, now is the time to get it. You have to place a deposit by Friday and get the procedure by next month. That means if you haven't had your formal consultation, you've got to schedule that immediately. I'm pretty quick about these formal consultations, so I will get back to you very quickly. You know, this young lady, really interesting story. She, you know, when she came to me, I was concerned that she may have more visceral fat. So visceral fat is the fat behind the muscle. So we have fat on the external portion of our muscle. We call that subcutaneous fat, and that's the fat that we can get with liposuction. And then we have fat behind the muscle, which is called visceral fat. Now, visceral fat it surrounds your internal organs, and it was meant to protect them. So it's good that we have it, but some people have more visceral fat, and it pushes the belly out like this. So this young lady I was really worried about, I was concerned about, but as it turned out, it was all fat. And so that's why we were able to get these incredible, amazing results. Now, I recently treated her sister, and her sister had the same thing, this big bulging belly, and she was a bit bigger than her, but I was obviously concerned that we had visceral fat, and as it turned out, we took out all the fat on her belly, but substantial amount of fat off of her belly. However, after taking all the fat off of her belly still had a bulge to it, and so the skin went right back to where the muscle was, but unfortunately the muscle was bulged out, and so that was the problem for her. So she has this visceral fat, and come to find out that she's a bus driver, so she sits all the time, and because of that, her core has become weaker, and she didn't like to work out and exercise. So this is one of those things like you use it or lose it, right? So if you're not using your muscles, then you lose it and you become weaker. So it's unfortunate, but it made me realize that everybody has a different potential. So you have to be realistic with what your potential is. And I don't know what kind of damage you've caused over the years. And, who knows what you've done. We're just dealing with what we have in front of us today, and we're trying to make do with whatever we can. But you as the individual, you need to become aware and realize that there's only so much potential that you have today, but that potential was limited by the things that you did yesterday. But when I say yesterday, I mean in the past, so in the past decades that you've been doing or not doing that affect your body. And everybody has a different potential, and and it's not when I do my job, it's not that I did a better job on the sister than her. It's not that at all. It was that this patient, her sister, didn't have the same potential. They're different people. Just because it's family members, they're different people, right? And you're going to be different. And you might see somebody that looks just like you. You're like, I want that. And then come to find out that you weren't the same as that person. You had different things, and the consequences were different. The results were different. And you just have to be realistic. But everybody's journey is different. So for her sister, her journey's different. She's got to really focus on the diet and exercise to lose that fat behind the muscle. Then she's also got to really focus on core exercises for strengthening the core. The journey's just different. She may get there. It's just going to be around these challenges, around these issues, or go over them. However you want to get past these issues, it's just like you just have different issues. So each person's a little bit different. You have your issues, and if once your eyes are open to the issues, you start becoming more cognizant and aware of the things that you can do and the things that you can control. Because the worst thing is that when you get really upset about the things you just simply can't control, it doesn't make sense, because then you're angry and upset and you don't have any control. But if you're telling me that, hey, you're dehydrated, and I'm thinking, well, that's my fault. I can control that. I can do that. And if I don't do it, it's my fault. And the consequences are going to be 100% on me. And if you can take responsibility for yourself, then it'll allow you to actually start to change. When I tell you that you're dehydrated and you're saying, whoa, hold on a second, that's my responsibility. And if you don't change, then the consequences will continue to fall on you. So when they continue to fall on you, you're going to have the lesson, and it'll keep whacking you on the head until you get it, and you're like, oh, that's why I need to drink water. And then you'll actually start to do it. And hopefully it's so painful for you that you never forget. Hopefully. If you're lucky. And if it's not, life, I promise you, the universe will keep whacking you over the head until you realize that it's so important for you. My 12-year-old son told me the other day, he said, yeah, I got this lesson,
I didn't bring water to my soccer game, and so I didn't have water, and I was like, I could barely walk afterwards. I was so exhausted. I couldn't breathe. It was like, like I had peanut butter in my mouth. His mouth was so dry, and he said that he was like miserable, so unhappy, and he realized the importance of water. And so ever since then, he's just like me. He's always carrying his little water bottle. He's always drinking water. And I like to think that I influenced him somehow. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I planted the seed, and then he got whacked over the head by the universe, and then he finally realized that maybe Dad knows what he's talking about. But the same thing's gonna happen to you if you don't learn why your body got to the way it is now, and you don't change those things. It doesn't matter what we do to you today. We can suck the fat out, but it doesn't matter. Because if you don't want to learn, you won't learn. If you don't want to change, it's inevitable. You're going to recreate the same problems. Because the problems are just a reflection of your mind. And if you believe it's okay to eat that food, then the universe is going to slap you upside the head until you realize. And again, it's all your choice. It's all free will. You can choose or you're not. You want 15% off? It's your choice. You get to choose. You see all these women behind me that change their life, change their body, and it's an ongoing process. And if you want to go communicate with them directly, you should. Go to our private Facebook group. You can talk to these girls directly. And you hear it's the same struggle. The same struggle that you're having, it's the same struggle that they had. Same struggle that I had. We've all had the same issues. We all go through the same things. In fact, we're all one. We're all connected with these same issues. We're all connected. So you can learn from these people. You can learn from me if you want, if you're open to this stuff. And if you're not open, you're just not going to learn. And to be honest with you, I don't want to deal with you. Neither does anyone else. If you don't want to change, then you'll stay the same. And those people, I hate dealing with people like that. Those people are the victims. The world just happens to them. They complain about every problem. They're unrealistic with their expectations. They're no fun to deal with. They're really not. No, if you're like that, nobody. Here's your pill. Nobody wants to deal with you, right? If you're a consumer, nobody wants to deal with you because you're rude, you're mean, like nobody wants that stuff. I want to deal with happy people that want what I have to offer, want the knowledge, want the experience, want me to suck the fat out of their body. If you don't want it, then don't come here. I had in the back in the days I was like, oh, I'll take any patient, anybody, come. I need the money. But now I'd rather change people's lives. And I know that those people that are just coming for cheap prices, that those people they're the ones that are rude. They're the ones that, a year later they've gained a bunch of weight and then they're pissed off. And who are they pissed off at? They're pissed off at me because they're the victim. I did it to them. They don't want to take the responsibility that, maybe it was because you went back to your old habits. Maybe it's because you decided not to change. Maybe it's because your lifestyle, you were too comfortable. Remember, comfort is like death. If you want to be comfortable, you're just going to die early. Those people that want to lay on the couch and chill, like, believe me, I would love to do that. Man, it would be awesome. But I like to move even better. I like to jump. I like to run. I like to play soccer. I like to do everything. I like to experience this world. I like to get outside of the box, this house that we're in. I like to get out of this stuff because to me, that's living. Sitting around doing nothing, to me, might as well be dead. There's no point, right? If you can't experience, then what's the point in being here? And my purpose, I believe, is to help you realize the same thing. Is to help you realize that we are here with the capabilities to experience this world. We have all these sensor organs. We have the eyes to see things, the ears to hear things, the taste buds to taste things, smell things, to feel things with our skin. All these sense organs are just sending information. It's experience. It sends information to our brain, and then our brain processes it, and then we get to experience the joy of everything. It's all amazing. Right? It's incredible that we're able to build these things. We take, wood, plastic, glass, and we put it into these things. We put the particles together, and all of a sudden you have something that it becomes a TV. it's incredible what we're capable of doing now. But if if you're not able to experience these things, you're not able to take the input into your sense organs, then what's the point in being here? What's the point? You have to make your own choices in your life. You have to decide what your points. Jenny Vick, BMI requirements. Dolores Williams, do you need to be put to sleep? Okay, so all of our procedures are done in a local anesthesia. BMI requirements, we don't have any BMI requirements. However, if you go to our quick quote system, right up in the post here, you can click on the quick quote. Quick quote will give you based off of your BMI. And again, with the BMI, it's not used to limit, rather to categorize. And so we do these various categories to make safety protocols and recommendations for what procedures can be done on a person of that size. See, the BMI is essentially, the way I view it, is it's a measure of the volume that you carry. So if you're carrying a volume of weight, of fat, then there's only so much that we can remove in one procedure. So we have to categorize and make different recommendations on what can be done for you specifically. So go check out our quick quote. Dolores Williams, does it hurt? You're awake throughout the procedure, so you're going to feel things. Now, the first part of the procedure is getting you numb, and it's uncomfortable. And after you get numb, if the numbing medication works really well, which in many people it does, it's not that difficult after that. And if you do feel stuff, you just let me know and we'll put some more numbing medication. But here's the thing, the advantage of doing local anesthesia over general anesthesia is huge. General anesthesia is, if you do research, a lot of people are concerned about these procedures and dying from the procedures, because I'm sure you've heard the people that go to Mexico and the Dominican Republic and Miami, and they end up dying, and it's sad. And I'm sure that you don't want that to happen. So the first thing is, don't go to those places where people are dying. That's first thing, right? So don't go to Miami. There's lots of people dying there. Don't go to the DR. Don't go to Mexico. These are the places that maybe it's cheaper, but you never know what you're gonna get. Miami's like a mill. DR, the Dominican Republic, is like a mill. They get tons and tons of people. Okay, hi, I had a gastric sleeve done back in October 21, and I want to get rid of the excess skin and do breast augmentation. Is this possible, or is a mommy makeover better in this case? So Diana, I can't give you a personalized recommendation without seeing pictures of you, so this is where you should sign up for the formal consultation. However, I'll speak, in generalizations here, so maybe this will help you. I have many patients that have gotten a gastric sleeve or gastric bypass or whatever those type of gastric procedures are, the weight loss procedures. Many patients that get that, and then they come for liposuction afterwards. How well your skin retracts back, again, everybody has their different potential, but you can see that even really bad situations, the skin always retracts back. This is the question, just how much, and then what your expectations are and what you want. So my recommendation, if you have fat to remove, then get liposuction, because liposuction removes fat. If you have only skin, then you do a tummy tuck where they are cutting away the skin. But if you have fat and you do a tummy tuck, the results are not as good, because they end up leaving too much fat behind, and so those people end up being boxy in shape, and you have this huge scar, and then you end up getting liposuction afterwards anyways. So my recommendation is get liposuction first, and in many cases the skin retracts back quite nicely, and you're happy with the results, and you can go on about your life and not do anything else. But if you get liposuction, we can get these results. And if you still feel the skin is too loose and you wanted it to be tighter and you don't mind this huge scar, then it's easy to cut the skin away when there's no more fat left. It's way easier. Okay. Oh, the CDC said that the DR is the deadliest place to go. Oh, that would suck to be on that list, huh? Perfect, will do. I will go ahead and do that and send in my images after I do my consultation. So hurry up, Diana, because if you want to take care of this advantage, this 15% off, then that means I need to do your consultation by Friday. In fact, it'll probably be Friday because I'm doing procedures tomorrow. Oh, hola, me hice un tummy tuck hace 2 meses, pero me dejaron graso. Okay, so you had a tummy tuck, you have more fat, you want lipo. I'm sorry, my Spanish. I understand what you're saying, but I can't articulate in Spanish well enough. I feel embarrassed. But we do have Spanish speakers at the office. I hope you understand. Call the office. Se habla español. Me oficina. Okay. Yeah, Diana. Yeah, so typically what happens with these larger individuals that get the gastric bypass is you'll lose some weight, but you still have an abundance of fat. Okay, and as long as that skin, you see, sometimes when they lose like hundreds of pounds, the density of the tissue, it gets like it's almost like it's airy feeling to it, and the skin is just like, it's like it's lost all its elasticity, and when you lose too much weight, the skin it's really hard for the skin to retract back. But if you haven't lost that much weight, it's actually better for the liposuction because with the removal of the fat process, it stimulates the collagen response to the body as a natural response, and it will stimulate this along with the scar tissue. And what happens is it's just like this young lady here. We took all the fat out of there, and then the body's natural reaction is to create the scar tissue because that's what it does when it's been traumatized. So the scar tissue that forms, the scar tissue kind of works like glue, and it sticks everything together. It's good and it's bad. It's good because it sticks everything together. It's bad because it sticks everything together, and it'll stick together in whatever position it's in. So you may see there's some people who have some weird things that happen during the healing process. Like their skin might twist, or they might get a fold or a ridge or some weird stuff that happens, and it's happening from the garment. It's not from the liposuction. It's from the garment. It's during the healing process. So that's why the importance of keeping a smooth compression. And we utilize tools like foam or lipo boards, things of that nature, different garments to keep smooth results, because if you cause irregularities from the garment, scar tissue will make it permanent by scarring everything down in that position. So you have to be conscious, you have to be aware, you have to be ready to change and do the things that are necessary to get the results that you want. So, utilizing, what are they called? Lymphatic massages, compression garments. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up here. Yeah, Dawn says she thinks her ejection fracture would go up tremendously. I think you're right. This would be really interesting, Dawn, and I'd really be curious to find out if it does work, because I know that it works for diabetes. I know that it helps lower the blood pressure. I know that it helps lower the cholesterol. I know that it helps people breathe better. So for what do they call it? PCO? No, not PCOS. I know PCOS. This young lady had PCOS. We've had 3 of them recently that had dramatic changes in their hormones that affect the PCOS. So I know that it affects the hormones. I know that it affects a lot of things. And so it's kind of one of these like foundational things. Once you get the fat off of you, foundationally your body is able to be what it's supposed to be. But when you have all this excess fat, it's the fat that causes the problems. So Ms. Dawn, I'd highly, highly, highly suggest that you look into dietary changes. And there's ways that you can reset your body, and the body already knows how to be perfect. It already knows. It's in our DNA. It's encoded in us already. You just have to stop doing the things that are screwing you up. And this is the thing that I realized, and I realized this when I was fasting. I fasted for 7 days, and after 7 days, it's like all the inflammation in your body goes away, and you feel like a freaking rock star. It's absolutely amazing. And then you realize that the only reason you've been feeling bad is because of the garbage. And we call it food, but the garbage that we keep putting down our throats and eating is what's causing the problems. Seriously. So if you want to solve and cure yourself in many of these problems, fast.
And I'd highly suggest that you go pick up the book by Dr. Sebi. That's Sebi, Dr. Sebi. And he talks about the alkaline diet. It's, I've just been recently reading this book, and it's he speaks a lot on the same concepts that I do, and our ideas are really well aligned. So I highly suggest checking that out. He gets into a lot more details, and he apparently helped to cure cancer, and he cured many diseases, and a lot of people, the conspiracy theorists, believe that the government took him out because of it. So, just by that thought that the government may have taken him out, it makes me believe everything that he said. So I would highly suggest getting his book. All right, one last question here. Brevero says, hello, I had a tummy tuck, but still swell a lot, and they left me fat around my back and under my boobs. When can I do a lipo to give my body a figure? Well, we can do that immediately. Well, not immediately, about 6 months after, at minimum, of your tummy tuck. We need the wounds to heal from the tummy tuck, but if you want to take advantage of this special right now, the special is, you need to place a deposit for this week, the end of this week. So by Friday, you have to place a deposit, which means you need to get the formal consultation immediately. Sign up for that right when you get off of this. Go sign up for that formal consultation, schedule that, and we can talk and get you set up to do the consultation and place your deposit by Friday. We can work with you. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Get those consultations, find out your pricing, get your formal consultation. You got to place that deposit if you want to get this 50% off. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.